Once you stop tonight, rest finds the part of you that never does. Not only the part of you that feels tired in the body, but the deeper part that keeps working even after the lights are low. The part that continues planning tomorrow. The part that replays what happened today. The part that checks whether anything was forgotten. The part that carries other people's feelings, unfinished talks, unpaid bills, unanswered messages, and questions that have no clear answer yet. Your body may be lying down, but something inside you is still standing guard. Something inside you is still saying, "Not yet. I cannot rest yet. There is more to fix. There is more to understand. There is more to prepare for." And this is why sleep can come near you without true rest reaching you. You may know this feeling very well. The day ends, but your mind does not accept the ending. The room becomes quiet, but your thoughts become louder. You remember a sentence you wish you had said differently. You think about something that may happen tomorrow. You wonder whether someone is upset with you. You begin solving problems that have not even arrived. You carry the whole next day into the bed with you, as though thinking about it all night will somehow make it lighter when morning comes. But worry does not make tomorrow lighter. It only makes tonight heavier. You do not need to solve your whole life before you close your eyes. You do not need to understand every feeling. You do not need to know what every person is thinking. You do not need to decide the future while your body is asking for rest. Tonight is not asking you to finish everything. Tonight is asking you to stop carrying what cannot be completed in this moment. There is a difference between stopping because you have given up and stopping because you finally trust yourself enough to rest. Giving up comes from hopelessness. True rest comes from wisdom. Giving up says, nothing can change. Rest says, I will meet this again when I have more strength. Giving up turns away from life. Rest returns you to life with a clearer mind and a softer heart. You may have been taught that stopping is dangerous. Perhaps you learned that if you do not stay alert, something will go wrong. Perhaps you learned that your value comes from how much you do, how much you carry, how many people you help, or how little you need from anyone else. You may have become very good at being the strong one. You may know how to continue when you are tired. You may know how to smile while your mind is full. You may know how to take care of everyone while quietly forgetting yourself. But even the strongest heart needs a place where it does not have to be strong. Tonight can become that place. You do not have to perform here. You do not have to prove that you are calm. You do not have to force your thoughts to disappear. You do not have to make yourself sleep. You only need to begin letting go of the belief that you must remain on duty every hour of the day. The mind may still speak. Let it speak without following every thought. A thought can appear without becoming a job. A fear can rise without becoming a warning you must obey. A memory can return without becoming a room you have to enter again. You can notice what passes through you and still remain where you are. You can say, I hear this thought, but I do not need to solve it tonight. You can say, this matters, but it can wait until I have rested. You can say, I am allowed to stop carrying this day. That last sentence may feel simple, but it holds something powerful. I am allowed to stop carrying this day. Not because the day was perfect, not because every task was finished, not because every person understood you, not because every problem disappeared. You are allowed to stop because the day has reached its natural end. Some things may still be open. Some questions may still be waiting. Some feelings may still be tender. Life rarely places everything in a neat little box before night arrives. There will almost always be something more you could think about, more you could prepare, more you could check, more you could worry over. If rest is only allowed when nothing remains unfinished, then rest will always be pushed farther away. You do not need a perfect ending to have a peaceful night. You only need to accept that enough has been done for now. Enough does not mean everything. Enough means this is where you stop for today. Enough means the body is no longer asked to pay for every unfinished task. Enough means you do not keep using your own energy after the day has already taken what it needed. Enough means you can leave something for tomorrow without turning it into a failure. There may be a part of you that does not believe this yet. That part may say, "But what if I forget? What if I am not ready? What if tomorrow is difficult? What if something goes wrong while I am resting?" Speak gently to that part. Do not argue with it. It has probably been trying to protect you for a long time. It believes constant thought keeps you safe. It believes worry is a form of preparation. It believes rest means losing control. It may not know another way yet. You can tell it, "Thank you for trying to protect me. You do not need to work so hard tonight." You can tell it, "I will meet tomorrow when tomorrow comes." You can tell it, "We are safe enough to stop now." The goal is not to silence yourself. The goal is to become a kinder place for yourself to return to. Many people try to rest by forcing the mind to be quiet. Then, when the mind keeps moving, they become upset. They say, "Why can I not switch off? Why can I not relax? What is wrong with me?" But this only adds another layer of pressure. Now the mind is not only busy, it is being judged for being busy. Nothing is wrong with you because your mind needs time to settle. A lake does not become clear the moment the wind stops. The water needs a little time. In the same way, your inner world may need a gentle space between the day and sleep. It may need kind words. It may need the simple message that no more is being asked of you. You can let the day loosen slowly. You can let the face soften from all the expressions it had to hold. You can let the shoulders come down from all the weight they carried. You can let the hands stop reaching for the next thing. You can let the mind know that it does not need to watch every door. There is nothing lazy about this. Rest is not a reward for exhaustion. It is a basic need. It is part of how you return to yourself. It is where the body repairs, where feelings settle, where the mind sorts through what it has carried. Rest gives space to the parts of you that have been crowded by effort. You may think you need to earn rest by doing more, but doing more from an empty place does not make you more worthy. It only makes you more tired. Your worth does not rise when you are busy and disappear when you are still. You are worthy while working. You are worthy while resting. You are worthy while knowing what to do. You are worthy while feeling unsure. You are worthy when you have helped everyone. You are worthy when you finally choose to help yourself. Tonight, you are not stepping away from your life. You are stepping out of the pressure that says life can only continue if you keep holding it. Life can continue while you rest. The world can turn without your worry. Morning can arrive without your planning every part of it. The people you love can have their own feelings without you managing all of them. The things that need your attention can still be there when you wake. You do not have to hold the night together. You may notice that the mind keeps returning to one certain problem. It may be money. It may be love. It may be your body. It may be a choice you need to make. It may be something you regret. It may be fear about what is coming. Whatever it is, you do not need to push it away. You can place it gently outside the door of this moment. You can say, I am not denying this. I am simply not carrying it through the night. That is a loving boundary. You often set boundaries with other people, but you may also need a boundary with your own worry. Not a harsh boundary, not a fight, just a calm decision that says, this thought has had enough of my energy today. Your mind may return to it again. That is all right. You can return to your decision again. Rest is often not one big moment of letting go. It is many small returns. You notice that you are planning again, and you come back. You notice that you are replaying something, and you come back. You notice that your body is holding tension, and you come back. You do not need to become angry each time. You simply remember, I am finished with this day for now. The more gently you return, the more the body begins to trust the return. It begins to understand that night is not another place where it must perform. It begins to understand that quiet does not mean danger. It begins to understand that nothing bad happens when you stop solving. It begins to understand that you are still responsible even when you are resting. And slowly, the part of you that never stops begins to feel the presence of something new. Not force, not another demand. Permission. Permission to be tired. Permission to not know. Permission to leave one thing undone. Permission to be unavailable for a while. Permission to let your body be a body instead of a machine. Permission to belong to yourself. You may not realize how deeply you have needed that permission. You may have spent so much time waiting for life to become easier that you forgot you could offer yourself ease before life changes. You may have waited for someone else to say, you have done enough. Tonight, You can say it. You have done enough for this day. Perhaps not everything you hoped to do, perhaps not everything you planned, but enough to stop. You have thought enough. You have carried enough. You have watched enough. You have tried enough. You have been available enough. Now you are allowed to become still. Let this truth move through you without pressure. I am allowed to stop carrying this day. You do not have to feel fully calm for the words to matter. You do not have to believe them perfectly. Let them come near. Let them become a new message. The tired part may need to hear them many times before it trusts them. That is not failure. That is healing. The part of you that has stayed alert for years will not always relax in one night. But every night you speak with kindness. Every night you stop adding fear. Every night you allow something to remain unfinished. You teach that part a new way. You teach it that safety can exist without control. You teach it that worth can exist without work. You teach it that life can continue without constant effort. You teach it that rest is not the moment everything falls apart. Rest is the moment you stop falling apart in order to hold everything else together. Tonight, there is nothing you need to prove. There is no prize for staying mentally busy after the day is done. There is no special reward for carrying tomorrow before it arrives. There is only a tired heart that deserves to be met with tenderness. So let stopping be simple. You do not need to create a perfect feeling. You do not need to empty the whole mind. You do not need to become someone else. Just stop asking more from yourself. Stop asking the body to stay ready. Stop asking the mind to solve the future. Stop asking the heart to carry every person. Stop asking this moment to contain tomorrow. You are here now. The day is ending. This is enough for this moment. And perhaps for the first time in a long while, the part of you that is always listening for the next demand begins to hear something softer. Nothing more is required from you tonight. There is a part of you that rarely believes the day is complete. Even when the work is done, it searches for something else. Even when nobody is asking for help, it wonders who may need you. Even when the room is quiet, it listens for a problem. Even when you have given everything you could, it whispers, "You should have done more." This part does not know how to feel finished because finishing has never felt safe. It may believe that if you stop too early, you will disappoint someone. If you relax, you will fall behind. If you let your guard down, something will happen that you should have seen coming. If you rest, you may lose the control that has helped you survive difficult moments. So it continues. It keeps checking. It keeps preparing. It keeps thinking. It keeps holding. And because it has done this for so long, you may not even notice that it is working. Constant effort can become so normal that quiet begins to feel strange. You may lie down and feel almost guilty. You may sit without doing anything and suddenly remember every task. You may have a free moment and fill it before you have even felt it. This does not mean you do not want peace. It means a part of you has connected peace with risk. Perhaps you learned that love came when you were helpful. Perhaps you learned that praise came when you worked hard. Perhaps you learned that being easy to deal with kept people close. Perhaps you learned that your needs had to wait because someone else's needs were louder. Perhaps nobody told you directly that rest was wrong, but you saw that the person who rested was judged, while the person who gave everything was called strong. So you became strong. You learned to stay ready. You learned to do what was needed before anyone asked. You learned to notice the moods in the room. You learned to fix tension. You learned to carry more than your share. You learned to keep going after your body had asked you to stop. These skills may have helped you. They may have protected you. They may have made you feel useful, needed, or safe. But the same way of living that helped you through one season can become too heavy in another. You are allowed to thank the part that worked so hard and still teach it a new way. You do not need to hate your constant thinking. You do not need to call yourself difficult. You do not need to feel ashamed that rest is not always easy. The part of you that never feels finished is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to keep you from being hurt. It may believe that if you stay ready, you cannot be surprised. If you think through every outcome, you cannot be disappointed. If you give enough, nobody will leave. If you work hard enough, nobody can say you are not worthy. If you remain useful, you will always have a place. These beliefs often live deeper than words. They live in how quickly you say yes. They live in how uncomfortable you feel when someone helps you. They live in how hard it is to receive without giving something back. They live in how your body stays tense even when you tell yourself there is nothing wrong. The tired part of you does not only need sleep, it needs a new message about safety. It needs to hear, you do not have to earn your place here. It needs to hear, you are loved even when you are not helping. It needs to hear, you can stop before everything is finished. It needs to hear, you are still valuable when you are quiet. It needs to hear, nothing is wrong when you rest. These words may touch something deep. They may bring relief. They may also bring sadness, because perhaps you have waited a long time to hear them. Be gentle with that sadness. It is not proof that you are going backward. It may be the feeling of a tired part finally being seen. You may have spent years asking, why can I not relax? A kinder question is, what does the part of me that stays alert believe will happen if I relax? That question opens a door. Perhaps it believes you will lose time. Perhaps it believes you will become lazy. Perhaps it believes people will stop needing you. Perhaps It believes you will have to feel emotions that busyness helps you avoid. Perhaps it believes that when things become quiet, old pain will become louder. This is why stopping can feel uncomfortable at first. When the noise of the day lowers, feelings that have been waiting may come closer. Tiredness may become clear. Loneliness may become clear. Anger may become clear. Grief may become clear. The body may finally say what it has been trying to say beneath all the movement. You do not need to be afraid of this. A feeling that becomes visible is not a feeling that has suddenly appeared. It may have been there, waiting for enough quiet to be noticed. You can meet it without turning it into another job. You do not need to study every feeling. You do not need to solve every feeling. You can simply say, I see that this is here. You can let yourself be tired without asking why you are tired. You can let yourself be sad without forcing a lesson. You can let yourself feel unsure without demanding an answer. The part of you that never feels finished may try to turn healing into more work. It may say, I need to fix myself. I need to understand everything. I need to become calm. I need to rest correctly. But rest is not another test. Healing is not another way to prove yourself. You do not need to be good at letting go. You only need to be willing to stop holding so tightly. There is a difference between caring and carrying. You can care about your work without carrying it into every quiet moment. You can care about the people you love without taking full responsibility for their happiness. You can care about tomorrow without living there tonight. You can care about your future without using fear as a guide. Caring is open. Carrying is heavy. Caring says, this matters to me. Carrying says, this depends completely on me. Caring allows rest. Carrying believes rest is dangerous. You may have confused the two because carrying has often been praised. People may have called you dependable, strong, giving, selfless, capable. These words may have felt good, but they may also have created a quiet pressure to stay that way at all times. You are still dependable when you rest. You are still loving when you say no. You are still kind when you are not available. You are still strong when you let someone else carry something. You are still worthy when you do nothing for a while. The deepest kind of strength is not endless effort. It is knowing when effort has reached its healthy end. Tonight, the day has reached that end. You may not feel finished, but you can choose to be finished for now. That is different. You do not have to wait for the feeling to come first. Sometimes the decision comes before the feeling. You say, I am done for today, and the mind may continue for a while. You say, this can wait, and the body may still feel alert. But the decision begins creating a new path. It tells the inner world, we do not need to follow every old rule. One old rule may be, I must complete everything before I deserve peace. Replace it with something kinder. I do not have to finish everything before I deserve peace. Let that sentence become part of how you speak to yourself. When you see unfinished work, say, "This can wait." When you remember something late at night, say, "I can return to this tomorrow." When guilt appears, say, "Rest is part of responsibility." When the mind says you should be doing more, say, "More is not always better. Sometimes enough is wiser." Enough is a word your tired heart may need to learn again. Enough time spent thinking, enough energy given, enough messages answered, enough explaining, enough worrying, enough trying to control what belongs to someone else, enough proving, enough for today. The part of you that never feels finished may fear this word. It may think enough means careless, but enough can also mean balanced. Enough can mean wise. Enough can mean you are no longer willing to use tomorrow's strength to keep carrying today. You do not need to empty yourself to prove that you care. You do not need to become exhausted to prove that something matters. You do not need to lose yourself in order to be loved. Sometimes you may stay busy because being needed feels safer than being known. When you are always helping, fixing, planning, or working, there is less time to ask what you truly need. Busyness can become a wall between you and your own heart. But your needs do not make you weak. Wanting rest does not make you weak. Wanting support does not make you weak. Wanting silence does not make you weak. Wanting to be cared for does not make you weak. You are not only here to give, you are also here to receive. This may be unfamiliar. Receiving asks you to loosen control. It asks you to trust. It asks you to believe that something can come toward you without being earned through struggle. For the part that has always survived by effort, receiving may feel harder than giving. You may be comfortable offering kindness, but uncomfortable accepting it. You may know how to listen, but not how to speak about your own pain. You may know how to notice what others need, but not what your own body is asking for. Tonight, let receiving begin in a simple way. Receive the support beneath you. Receive the quiet around you. Receive the fact that nothing is being asked of you in this moment. Receive the right to stop. You do not need to give anything back. Rest is not asking you to repay it. It is simply waiting for you to stop running past it. The part of you that never feels finished may also be carrying an old fear of failure. It may think that every unfinished task says something about your worth. If you did not complete everything, perhaps you were not focused enough. If you are tired, perhaps you are not strong enough. If you need more time, perhaps you are falling behind. But life is not a race where everyone must move at the same speed. You have a human body. You have limits. You have emotions. You have days when energy comes easily and days when it does not. These things do not make you less worthy. They make you real. You do not need to fight being human. You can let your body have needs. You can let your mind have limits. You can let your heart become tired. You can stop before you break. You can rest before your body has to force you. This is a form of love. The old way waits until there is nothing left. The new way listens earlier. The old way says, I can keep going. The new way asks, do I need to keep going? The old way pushes until the body becomes loud. The new way notices the first quiet request. The old way treats rest like failure. The new way treats rest like care. You are learning a new relationship with yourself. Not one built only on what you can produce, fix, carry, or give. A relationship where you stay close to yourself even when nothing is being achieved. This is where true rest begins. It begins before sleep. It begins in the way you speak to the part that is tired. It begins when you stop calling that part lazy, dramatic, weak, or difficult. It begins when you say, of course you are tired. You have been holding too much for too long. There is healing in being understood by your own inner voice. You may have wanted others to notice how much you carry. Perhaps some did. Perhaps some did not. Tonight, you can notice. You can notice the effort nobody saw. You can notice the thoughts you managed alone. You can notice the times you continued when you wanted to stop. You can notice how often you chose everyone else. You can notice how much energy it took to look fine. And after noticing, you do not need to demand more. You can say, I see how hard you have worked. You may rest now. Let those words be warm, not an order, not a final task, a permission. The part of you that never feels finished may need to hear that it is no longer alone. It does not have to manage every part of life by itself. You are here now, not as another voice of pressure, but as a loving presence. You can become the voice that says, we will handle what belongs to tomorrow when tomorrow comes. You can become the voice that says, we do not have to prepare for every possible pain. You can become the voice that says, we are allowed to leave something undone. You can become the voice that says, peace is not something we earn after perfect effort. Peace is something we are allowed to receive. The more often you speak this way, the more the inner guard begins to understand that rest is not a threat. At first, it may only lower its guard a little. That little is enough. You do not need full surrender tonight. You only need one honest moment where you stop proving your worth through tiredness. I do not have to finish everything before I deserve peace. Let that truth stay close. Not everything is finished, but you are finished for today. Not every question is answered, but you do not need another answer tonight. Not every person is pleased, but you do not need to keep changing yourself in your own mind. Not every future problem is solved, but the future is not here yet. The part of you that never feels finished can begin learning that a day may be incomplete and still be allowed to end. When you carry too much for too long, the body begins to expect pressure even when nothing is happening. It forgets how to recognize quiet as safety. It hears silence and begins looking for what may be wrong. It enters a peaceful room but stays ready for the next demand. It lies down, but it does not fully release the day. This is what constant holding can do. It teaches the inner world that rest is only a break between problems, not a place where you are truly safe. You may notice it in small ways. Your shoulders remain tight even when you are sitting. Your jaw holds words that were never spoken. Your stomach reacts to thoughts about tomorrow. Your hands keep reaching for the phone. Your mind keeps returning to the same question, even though no new answer is available. The body is not trying to make life harder. It has learned from repetition. If every quiet moment is filled with worry, the body begins to connect quiet with worry. If every night is used to review mistakes, the body begins to connect night with judgment. If every moment of rest brings guilt, the body begins to believe rest is unsafe. If every unfinished task is treated like danger, the body remains ready even when the task can wait. This does not mean you caused every difficult feeling. It does not mean everything can be changed by one thought. It means the inner world listens to the messages it receives again and again, and you can begin offering it a different message. You can begin saying, "This moment is not an emergency." You can begin saying, "I do not need to prepare for every possible outcome." You can begin saying, "Tonight, nothing needs my fear in order to be handled." Fear often pretends to be useful. It tells you that worrying shows you care. It tells you that staying alert will prevent pain. It tells you that if you relax, you will miss something important. But fear does not always prepare you. Sometimes it only keeps you tired. There is a difference between planning and worrying. Planning looks at what can be done and chooses a step. Worry repeats the problem after no useful step remains. Planning has a natural ending. Worry keeps the door open all night. You may begin with a real concern. Perhaps there is something important to deal with. You think about it. You make a plan. You decide what to do. But then the mind returns again and again, as though repetition will create more control. It asks, "What if this happens?" Then it answers itself with another fear. Then it asks, "What if I cannot handle it?" Then it remembers an old pain. Then it begins creating a future that has not happened. Before long, the body is responding to an imagined moment as though it is happening now. The heart beats faster. The chest feels tight. The breath becomes smaller. The whole body receives the message, "Danger is here." But the danger may not be in the room. It may be in the story the mind is repeating. This is why the present moment matters. Not because the future does not matter, but because the body can only live here. When the mind keeps moving into tomorrow, the body is forced to react to a place it cannot reach. You can bring it back gently, not by saying stop thinking, not by becoming angry, but by noticing, I am trying to live tomorrow before it arrives. That awareness changes something. You can say, tomorrow can wait outside this room. You can say, I will meet what comes when it comes. You can say, tonight, my work is to stop creating danger in my own body. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. Constant holding also affects the way you hear your own thoughts. When you are tired, every problem can sound larger, a sem. All uncertainty can feel like a final answer. One difficult moment can begin to represent the whole future. One person's mood can feel like proof that you did something wrong. The mind loses space when it is exhausted. It becomes harder to see choices. It becomes harder to trust. It becomes harder to remember that feelings change. It becomes harder to separate what is happening from what you fear may happen. This is why rest is not wasted time. Rest returns space to the mind. It allows the problem to become its true size again. A tired mind may say, everything is wrong. A rested mind may say, one thing is difficult and I can deal with it. A tired mind may say, I will never find the answer. A rested mind may say, I do not know yet. A tired mind may say, I must fix this now. A rested mind may say, the next step can wait until morning. Rest does not always change the situation. It changes the place from which you meet the situation. When you never fully stop, the heart can also begin to feel forgotten. You may become so focused on what must be done that you stop asking what you feel. You may move from task to task, person to person, need to need. You may become very good at functioning while slowly becoming far from yourself. You may know what everyone needs, but not what you need. You may know what must happen next, but not how you feel now. You may know how to keep the day moving, but not how to let yourself be held. The heart does not always ask for a solution. Sometimes it asks for attention. It asks, can you stay with me without rushing away? It asks, can I be tired without being judged? It asks, can I feel this without turning it into a problem? It asks, can I stop being useful for a while and still be loved? These are deep questions. They may not have quick answers, but even asking them changes the relationship you have with yourself. Constant holding can make you feel as though you are only safe when you are useful. When you are helping, you know your place. When you are working, you know what to do. When you are solving, you feel needed. But when nothing is required, you may feel unsure of who you are. This is where rest becomes more than sleep. Rest becomes the place where you remember that you exist beyond what you do. You are not only your work. You are not only your responsibilities. You are not only the person others call when they need help. You are not only the one who stays strong. You are life itself, breathing, feeling, changing, learning. You deserve moments that are not used to improve anything. You deserve moments that are not preparing you for the next task. You deserve moments that have no purpose beyond letting you be here. The inner world becomes tired when every moment must be useful. Even healing can become another demand if you are not careful. You may think, I should be calmer, I should sleep better, I should let go faster. But these thoughts keep the same pressure alive. Hey, tell the body that it is still not doing enough. Try a gentler message. I am learning. My body is trying. I do not need to force this. Rest can come slowly. Slowly is not failure. The body may need time to believe that nothing is required. It may need several quiet nights before it stops waiting for another problem. It may need many kind moments before it trusts that you will not turn against it when it cannot relax immediately. Be patient with that process. You would not shout at a frightened animal and expect it to calm down. You would lower your voice. You would remain nearby. You would show through your presence that danger has passed. Offer the same kindness to yourself. Do not demand that your body become still. Let it discover stillness. Do not force the mind to stop. Let it notice that it no longer needs to continue. Do not punish yourself for feeling alert. Remind yourself that the night is not asking for action. Constant holding may also create the feeling that every emotion must be controlled. You may be afraid that if you let yourself feel tired, the tiredness will become too much. If you let yourself feel sad, the sadness will stay forever. If you stop holding everything in place, perhaps everything will fall. But emotions move when they are allowed to move. They often stay stuck when they are pushed away, judged, or turned into something shameful. You can let a feeling pass through without giving it the whole night. You can feel sadness and still be safe. You can feel anger and still choose kindness. You can feel fear and still not follow it into every imagined future. You can feel tired and let tiredness lead you toward care instead of criticism. The feeling is not the danger. The fight against the feeling often creates more pain. Tonight, if something rises, you do not need to ask, how do I remove this? You can ask, how can I meet this gently? Perhaps the answer is simple. This was a hard day. I wanted something to be different. I am worried because this matters to me. I am tired because I have carried too much. These honest sentences bring you closer to yourself. They do not solve everything, but they stop the inner war. And when the inner war becomes quieter, rest has more room to enter. Constant holding also keeps tomorrow emotionally open. The day has not arrived, yet you are already trying to live inside it. You imagine the work, the conversations, the possible problems. The mind begins using tonight's energy for events that may never happen. This leaves you with less strength for the real tomorrow. You cannot save energy by worrying. You only spend it early. Imagine waking with the energy you usually give to fear at night. Imagine meeting tomorrow with a clearer mind because you did not try to control it while lying in bed. Imagine trusting that the person you are in the morning will know more than the tired person you are at night. You do not need to make every decision from your most exhausted state. Some answers should wait for daylight. Some feelings should be held, not solved. Some choices become clearer after rest. The mind may resist this because it wants certainty now, but certainty is not always available. When it is not available, worry tries to fill the empty space. You can leave the space empty. You can say, "I do not know yet." This is one of the most peaceful sentences you can learn. I do not know yet. Not knowing does not mean something bad is coming. Not knowing does not mean you are unprepared. Not knowing does not mean you have failed. It means the answer has not arrived. You can let that be true without creating a painful answer of your own. Tonight, nothing needs your fear in order to be handled. Let that sentence return. The bills do not need your fear. The conversation does not need your fear. The decision does not need your fear. Your body does not need your fear. The people you love do not need your fear. Tomorrow does not need your fear. What these things may need is a clear mind, a rested body, patience, honesty, wise action, or support. Fear is not the only way to show care. You can care through preparation, then stop. You can care through a healthy choice, then stop. You can care through asking for help, then stop. You can care through setting a boundary, then stop. Stopping does not erase responsibility. It gives responsibility a healthy limit. Without limits, responsibility becomes a burden that follows you everywhere. It enters meals. It enters quiet moments. It enters sleep. It enters the body. It becomes part of how you breathe. You are allowed to place responsibility down when nothing more can be done. This is not avoidance. Avoidance says, "I will never face this." Rest says, "I will face this when I am able to meet it well." You may have believed that staying worried keeps you connected to the problem, but you do not need to remain emotionally connected to something every moment in order to remember it matters. You can let go for the night and return tomorrow. You can stop thinking and still care. You can rest and still be responsible. You can sleep and still be someone who takes life seriously. The inner world needs clear endings. A day without an emotional ending can continue inside you long after the clock says it is over. You may need to create that ending with your own words. This day is over. I have done what I could. What remains can wait. I release myself from duty for now. Let these words become a doorway out of constant holding. The body may not believe them immediately. That is all right. Speak them without force. Let repetition build trust. The inner world learns through experience. Each time you stop without something falling apart, it learns. Each time you rest and wake able to handle life, it learns. Each time you leave a problem for morning and discover that the problem did not grow because you slept, it learns. Slowly, rest becomes less frightening. Slowly, quiet becomes less empty. Slowly, the body stops expecting another demand. Slowly, the mind accepts that the day can end while life remains unfinished. This is the beginning of a new relationship with night. Night no longer becomes the place where every fear gathers. It becomes the place where you release what the day placed in your hands. You do not need to hold every thought until it becomes an answer. You do not need to hold every emotion until it disappears. You do not need to hold every person until they understand themselves. You do not need to hold every possible future until one becomes real. Your hands were not made to carry the whole world through the dark. Let tonight be smaller, this room, this breath, this body, this moment. Nothing more is required here. If the mind brings tomorrow, return to tonight. If the mind brings the past, return to tonight. If the mind brings someone else's feelings, return to your own body. If the mind brings pressure, return to the truth. Fear is not needed right now. You may still feel tension. Let it be there without turning it into proof that rest is impossible. Tension is a sign that the body has been holding. It can begin to release when it feels no new demand. You can meet tension with kindness. You have been trying to protect me. You do not need to stay so ready. We can stop now. Every kind sentence changes the atmosphere inside you. You are not trying to create perfect peace. You are creating enough safety for the next layer of holding to soften. That is how deep rest begins. Not through force, not through control, not through demanding that every thought disappear. It begins when the part of you that has worked all day finally understands that it will not be asked to keep working through the night. Tonight, nothing needs your fear in order to be handled. Nothing needs your body to remain tight. Nothing needs your mind to stay awake in every possible future. The day can be over. The unfinished can remain unfinished. And the part of you that has been holding everything can begin learning what it feels like to place one small piece down. Stopping tonight does not mean you have stopped caring. It does not mean you are walking away from what matters. It does not mean you are ignoring your responsibilities, pretending the problem is not real, or waiting for life to fix everything without your help. Stopping means you understand that there is a healthy time for action and a healthy time for release. It means you recognize that continuing to worry after you have done what you can does not make you more responsible. It only keeps your body inside a problem that cannot be solved in this moment. You can care deeply and still rest. You can be responsible and still stop. You can have unfinished work and still allow the day to end. You can love someone without carrying their whole life through the night. You can want an answer without forcing the mind to create one before morning. Perhaps part of you has confused rest with giving up because you have always been praised for continuing. You kept going when things were difficult. You found strength when you felt empty. You handled what needed to be handled. You stayed available. You found a way through. And because you became skilled at continuing, stopping may now feel like you are doing something wrong. But strength is not only the ability to continue. Strength is also knowing when continuing is no longer helping. There are moments when the most loving thing you can do is take another step. There are also moments when the most loving thing you can do is stop pushing. Wisdom is learning the difference. Giving up says, there is no reason to try. Rest says, I will try again when I can meet this with a clearer mind. Giving up closes the heart. Rest protects the heart from becoming empty. Giving up leaves life behind. Rest gives you enough energy to return to life. You are not turning away from tomorrow. You are allowing tomorrow to meet a version of you that has not spent the whole night fighting thoughts. You may have a real problem waiting for you. There may be something important that needs care. There may be a choice to make, a conversation to have, a task to complete, or a change that can no longer be delayed. Rest does not remove these things. It helps you meet them without giving fear complete control. A tired mind often makes every road look dangerous. It sees only the worst result. It becomes impatient. It may say something too quickly, agree to something it does not want, or make a choice simply to end the discomfort. A rested mind has more space. It can see what is true, what is imagined, what needs action, and what needs time. This is why stopping can be part of wise action. You do not become less prepared when you rest. You give yourself a better place from which to prepare. You do not become careless when you stop thinking for the night. You stop confusing endless thought with useful thought. You do not abandon the problem. You refuse to abandon yourself inside the problem. Sometimes the mind says, I cannot rest until this is fixed. But many things cannot be fully fixed in one evening. Some answers require information you do not have. Some choices require time. Some conversations depend on another person. Some changes grow slowly. Some healing cannot be hurried. If you refuse to rest until life is completely settled, your body may wait forever for permission. Life is rarely completely settled. One thing ends, another begins. One question is answered, another appears. One task is finished and something else asks for attention. This does not mean peace is impossible. It means peace cannot depend on having no unfinished parts. Peace must learn to sit beside the unfinished. Rest must become possible before everything is complete. You can tell yourself, there is more to do, and I am still allowed to stop. You can say, this matters, and it does not need my attention every moment. You can say, I will return to this when I have more energy. These words are not excuses. They are healthy limits. The part of you that has always pushed may not like limits. It may say, a little more, think a little longer, check again, make another plan. It may promise that rest is waiting just beyond the next task. But the next task often leads to another. The mind keeps moving the doorway farther away. You are allowed to decide where the doorway is. You are allowed to say, the day ends here. Not because every demand has disappeared, but because you are a person and not an endless source of energy. You have limits, and your limits deserve respect. A limit does not mean you are weak. A limit shows you where care is needed. The body becomes tired because it has been serving you. The mind becomes tired because it has been taking in thoughts, choices, words, sounds, and feelings. The heart becomes tired because it has been hoping, loving, worrying, and trying. Tiredness is not always something to defeat. Sometimes it is a message that says, please stop asking for more. Listen before the message has to become louder. You do not need to reach complete exhaustion before rest becomes acceptable. You do not need to prove that you have nothing left. You can rest while some energy remains. You can stop before the body begins to feel like an enemy. This is a kinder way to live. The old way says, keep going until you cannot. The kinder way says, stop when continuing begins to cost too much. The old way says, rest after everything is done. The kinder way says, rest is part of how things get done. The old way says, your needs can wait. The kinder way says, your needs belong in your life too. You may be afraid that resting will make you fall behind. But falling behind what? A list that never ends? An idea of who you should be? A pace that does not respect your body? The life of someone who has different needs, different support, and a different path. You do not need to move at a pace that keeps you separated from yourself. There is no real success in reaching the next place while leaving your peace behind. You can move more slowly and still move forward. You can take care of yourself and still be committed. You can stop tonight and still begin again tomorrow. There may be guilt when you first choose this. Guilt often appears when you stop following an old rule. The old rule may say, you must always be available. It may say, you should be able to handle more. It may say, other people need you, so your tiredness does not matter. Guilt does not always mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it means you are doing something new. You may feel guilty when you stop answering. You may feel guilty when you leave work unfinished. You may feel guilty when you do not solve someone else's feelings. You may feel guilty when you choose sleep instead of another hour of worry. Let the guilt be present without letting it make the decision. You can say, I feel guilty because this is unfamiliar, not because rest is wrong. You can say, I am learning that caring for myself does not harm anyone. You can say, I do not need to punish myself for having limits. The guilt will not always be so strong. Each time you rest without explaining, apologizing, or proving that you deserve it, you teach the mind that stopping is safe. You are building a new inner rule. The new rule says, I do what belongs to today, and I release what belongs to tomorrow. This is not careless, it is clear. The mind becomes tired when it carries time that has not arrived. Tomorrow has its own energy. It has its own information, its own choices, and its own strength. You do not need to take tomorrow's weight into tonight. There are things the morning version of you will understand better. There are choices that become easier after sleep. There are feelings that become less sharp after the body has rested. There are problems that look different when they are no longer being viewed through exhaustion. Let tomorrow have a chance to speak for itself. Do not decide tonight that tomorrow will be terrible. Do not decide tonight that you will not cope. Do not decide tonight that nothing can improve. These are not facts. They are thoughts created by a tired mind trying to protect you from uncertainty. You can leave tomorrow without a painful story. You can say, I do not know what tomorrow will bring, but I do not need to suffer it before it comes. This is trust. Trust does not mean you believe everything will happen exactly as you want. Trust means you believe you can meet life without frightening yourself every hour before it arrives. Trust means you do what you can and release what you cannot control. Trust means you allow life to have movement beyond your plans. Trust means you stop using worry as proof that you care. You may have believed that if you stop worrying, you will become unprepared. But worry is not the same as preparation. Preparation has a purpose. It makes a choice. It writes something down. It gathers what is needed. It completes a useful step. Then it ends. Worry goes in circles. It returns to the same fear and asks for an answer that is not available. It creates new problems to keep itself busy. It convinces you that mental tiredness means you have been responsible. You do not need to keep going in circles to prove that something matters. Take the useful step, then let the circle close. If there is something you may forget, write it down and release it. If there is a task for tomorrow, decide when you will meet it and let it remain there. If there is a conversation you cannot have tonight, stop having it alone in your mind. If there is a choice you are too tired to make, allow yourself to wait. If there is a feeling you cannot solve, give it kindness instead. This is how rest becomes practical. It is not only a soft idea, it is a decision to stop doing emotional work that no longer helps. You may tell yourself, but I should be stronger than this. Perhaps strength has been misunderstood. Strength is not ignoring every signal from the body. Strength is not making yourself smaller so everyone else can have more. Strength is not answering every demand. Strength is not holding the whole future in your mind. Strength can look like closing the door. Strength can sound like not tonight. Strength can mean trusting that you do not have to complete your whole life in one day. You have done enough for this day, and you are safe to release it. Let that sentence meet the part of you that is still measuring, the part that is counting what was completed and what was missed, the part that remembers the one thing that went wrong while forgetting everything you carried. Enough does not mean perfect. Enough does not mean nothing remains. Enough means the amount you gave today has reached its end. You are allowed to respect that end. Perhaps you did less than you hoped. You are still allowed to stop. Perhaps you became distracted. You are still allowed to stop. Perhaps you made a mistake. You are still allowed to stop. Perhaps someone is disappointed. You are still allowed to stop. Rest is not only for days you are proud of. Rest is also for difficult days. It is for days when you did not feel like yourself. It is for days when your energy was low. It is for days when you tried and nothing seemed to move. It is for days when you wished you had responded differently. The body does not need to be punished because the day was imperfect. Sleep is not something you take away from yourself as a lesson. Rest is where you gather enough care to meet another day differently. If you made a mistake, rest will not erase responsibility. It will help you respond with a steadier mind. If something needs to be repaired, you can repair it after your body has been supported. If a truth must be faced, you can face it without keeping yourself awake in shame. You do not become better by hurting yourself through the night. Self-punishment is not growth. Growth begins when honesty and care stand together. You can say, I wish I had done that differently and I still deserve rest. You can say, I will take responsibility, but I will not attack myself. You can say, I can learn without carrying shame into every quiet moment. This is what it means to rest without avoiding life. You remain honest. You remain responsible. You remain willing to act. But you stop using pain as your teacher. You stop believing exhaustion will make you more worthy. You stop treating fear like the price of caring. You can care deeply without carrying everything through the night. The person you love does not need you to lose yourself. The work you value does not need you to destroy your energy. The future you hope for does not need you to arrive there already empty. Your life needs you present, not constantly drained. So let tonight become a boundary between effort and release. What belonged to the day can remain with the day. What belongs to tomorrow can wait for tomorrow. What belongs to someone else can return to them. What is beyond your control can leave your hands. You have done enough for this day, and you are safe to release it. The night is not asking you to give up. It is asking you to trust that stopping can also be part of moving forward. Tomorrow has not arrived, but the mind can begin living inside it long before morning. It imagines the conversations, the work, the choices, the possible mistakes, and the things that may go wrong. It creates a future in the dark and then asks the body to react as though that future is already here. This is how tonight's energy is quietly given away. The event has not happened, but the heart is already carrying it. The words have not been spoken, but the mind is already answering them. The decision has not been placed before you, but you are already afraid of choosing badly. You are using real energy to live through moments that may never happen in the way you imagine. Fear calls this preparation, but much of the time it is not preparing you. It is making you tired before the real day begins. You may tell yourself, I am only thinking ahead. Thinking ahead can be useful. It becomes painful when the mind does not know where to stop. A useful thought gives direction. It reminds you what must be done. It helps you prepare something. It shows you a step. Then it has completed its purpose. Fearful thought does not complete itself. It asks another question, then another. It moves from one possible problem to the next. It does not create a plan. It creates a feeling of danger. You can begin noticing the difference. Ask yourself, is this thought giving me a useful step, or is it only asking me to feel afraid? If there is a useful step, choose it when the time is right. If there is no useful step available tonight, the thought does not need more energy. You can let it pass without giving it a home. A thought can appear without becoming a task. This is important because you may have trained yourself to respond to every thought. The mind says, "What about tomorrow?" and you immediately follow. It says, "What if something goes wrong?" and you begin searching for proof. It says, "What if they are upset?" and you start replaying every word. The thought appears, and suddenly you are no longer in your room. You are inside an imagined conversation. You are defending yourself. You are trying to control someone's reaction. You are creating answers for questions that have not been asked. You do not have to go everywhere the mind invites you. You can hear the thought and stay where you are. You can say, "That may matter tomorrow. It does not need me tonight." You can say, "I am not available for this conversation in my mind." You can say, "I will not use this quiet moment to create another problem." This is not about fighting thoughts. The more you fight them, the more important they may begin to feel. A thought you push away can return with more force because the mind believes it has found a danger. Meet the thought with less fear. Here is worry again. Here is the mind trying to prepare. Here is the old need to control. You do not need to turn these words into judgment. You are only noticing what is happening. Noticing creates space. In that space, you can choose whether the thought receives your energy. Attention is a form of energy. What you return to becomes stronger in the inner world. If you return to the same fear all evening, the body begins believing the fear is important. It remains alert. It keeps listening. It keeps waiting for something to happen. The mind may say, I am thinking about this because it matters, but something can matter without receiving every thought you have. You can love a person without thinking about their feelings all night. You can care about money without turning every quiet moment into fear. You can care about your health without watching the body with panic. You can care about your work without taking every task into bed. You can care about the future and still let it remain closed until morning. There is a difference between giving something attention and giving it your whole inner world. Some worries have been given too much space. They enter the morning before you open your eyes. They walk with you through the day. They sit beside you while you eat. They wait for you at night. You may not be able to remove the problem immediately, but you can begin changing how much of your life it is allowed to occupy. You can decide that tonight will not belong completely to fear. The worry may visit. It does not need to lead. The question may appear. It does not need an answer now. The feeling may rise. It does not need to become the whole night. You can stop giving tonight's energy to tomorrow's problems. This sentence does not mean tomorrow has no challenges. It means tomorrow deserves to be met with tomorrow's strength. The person you are tonight may be tired, sensitive, and full of the day. The person who wakes may have more space. Do not make the tired version of you solve everything for the rested version. Let morning bring its own clarity. Let daylight change the size of the problem. Let sleep separate fact from fear. Let time bring information you do not yet have. You do not need to know everything now. The need to know can be one of the strongest things keeping the mind active. You may want to know what someone will decide. You may want to know whether the plan will work. You may want to know when the pressure will end. You may want proof that the future will be safe. Not knowing feels open, and the mind often fills open space with fear. But open space can also remain open. You do not have to fill it. You can say, I do not know what will happen, and I will not use fear to create the answer. This is a powerful form of inner care. The mind may believe that a painful answer is better than no answer, because at least pain feels tame. It may say, they will leave. It will fail. I will not cope. Nothing will change. These thoughts may feel like facts because they remove uncertainty, but they do not protect you. They only make you suffer a future that has not happened. You can choose uncertainty without choosing fear. You can say, the answer is not here yet. You can let that be the whole truth. The answer is not here yet. That does not mean the answer will be bad. That does not mean you are unprepared. That does not mean life has forgotten you. It only means this moment does not contain tomorrow's full information. You can stop asking it to. Sometimes the mind uses the past to predict the future. It remembers what happened before and says, this will happen again. It takes an old wound and places it over a new situation. It believes that because something hurt once, staying alert can prevent the same pain. Your wish to protect yourself is understandable, but the past is not always a clear picture of what comes next. You know more now. You may have stronger limits now. You may notice warning signs earlier. You may be more willing to choose yourself. You may ask for help sooner. You may respond differently, even if something feels familiar. You are not meeting the future with the exact same awareness you had before. Let that matter. You do not need to replay the past in order to prove you learned from it. You can keep the wisdom and release the repeated pain. The wisdom may say, speak honestly. The fear may say, replay every conversation. The wisdom may say, protect your energy. The fear may say, watch everyone closely. The wisdom may say, prepare what you can. The fear may say, never stop thinking. Choose the wisdom. Wisdom is usually simpler than fear. Fear builds long stories. Wisdom offers a clear step. Fear demands certainty. Wisdom accepts what is known. Fear keeps the body tense. Wisdom knows when to stop. You can ask, what is the wise part of this thought? Perhaps there is a task to remember. Write it down. Perhaps there is a boundary to set. Meet it when the time comes. Perhaps there is support to seek. Decide how you will reach for it. Perhaps there is nothing to do yet. Let that be enough. You do not have to keep the fear after you have taken the wisdom from it. Many worries continue because the mind believes repeating them will prevent forgetting. It returns to the same task, the same choice, or the same concern because it does not trust that it will remember tomorrow. Give the mind somewhere safe to place what matters. Tell yourself, I will return to this. Not every thought needs to remain open in order to be remembered. You can place it down without losing it. You can close the inner door and still know where the key is. The body needs this feeling of closure. Without it, every concern remains active at the same time. The mind behaves as though all of life must be handled now. But life does not come all at once. It comes in moments. It comes in choices. It comes in the next conversation, the next step, the next morning. You do not need the strength for your entire future tonight. You only need enough gentleness to stop spending energy on what is not here. Notice how often you check. You may check the phone for a message that has not come. You may check a problem inside your mind to see whether it has changed. You may check your body for a feeling. You may check someone's words for hidden meaning. Checking promises relief. It says, maybe this time you will find certainty. Sometimes checking is necessary. Repeated checking after no new information has appeared often keeps the nervous system waiting. Each time you check, the body hears, something important may have changed. Stay ready. You can give yourself a different message. If something needs my attention, I can meet it later. I do not need to keep searching for danger. I am allowed to stop checking. The urge may return. Let it return without obeying immediately. An urge is not a command. It is a wave of old habit. You can let it rise and fall. Every time you do not follow the urge, the inner world learns that you can be safe without constant checking. This is how trust is built. Not through one large decision, but through many quiet moments where fear appears and you do not hand it the whole night. You may also replay words from the day. Perhaps you wonder why someone said something. Perhaps you wish you had answered differently. Perhaps you are trying to understand what they meant. The mind may believe there is a perfect explanation hidden inside the memory. It plays the moment again, hoping to find it. But the same memory rarely gives new information after it has been repeated many times. It only deepens the feeling. You can say, I have thought about this enough for today. You can say, I do not need to understand everything tonight. You can say, if this needs a conversation, I will have the real conversation instead of repeating it alone. You are allowed to stop speaking for other people inside your mind. You do not know every thought they have. You do not need to imagine every answer. You do not need to prepare for every reaction. Let them carry their side of the conversation. You carry yours when the time comes. This is another way of returning energy to yourself. You may have been carrying not only your thoughts, but imagined thoughts belonging to everyone around you. You wonder whether they are disappointed, angry, tired, distant, or hurt. You try to read silence. You try to prevent conflict. You change yourself in advance. This can make the mind feel as though it is responsible for every emotional movement around it. You are not responsible for every feeling another person has. You can be caring without becoming a mind reader. You can be kind without managing every reaction. You can speak honestly and allow others to have their own inner world. Tonight, give those imagined thoughts back. You do not need to carry them through the dark. Let the mind return to what is real. You are here. This day is ending. The bed or chair beneath you is supporting your weight. The next demand has not arrived. You do not need to create it. The present may feel small compared with the future the mind is building, but the present is where the body can finally receive safety. Do not rush past this simple moment. You have reached the end of another day. You are still here. You have handled things you once feared you could not handle. You have made it through moments without knowing how they would end. You have found answers after periods of uncertainty. You do not need to deny your strength by acting as though every future problem will be greater than you. You may not know exactly how you will meet tomorrow, but you have met many mornings before. Trust the version of you that will wake. Trust that you can ask for help. Trust that you can make a new choice. Trust that you can change direction if something does not work. Trust that you do not need the full map before rest. Fear says you need to know everything. Life usually gives the next part when the next part is needed. Let this be enough tonight. You stop giving tonight's energy to tomorrow's problems. Not because tomorrow does not matter, because tonight matters too. Your body matters. Your peace matters. Your ability to meet the next day with something left inside you matters. You do not have to arrive at morning already used up. Let fear keep none of the energy that belongs to rest. Let tomorrow remain outside the door. It will come when it comes. And when it does, you will not be the tired mind lying in the dark. You will be the person who has allowed the body to receive something it has needed for a long time. Even when you decide to stop, the body may continue holding. The mind may understand that the day is over while the shoulders remain tight. You may know there is nothing more to do, yet the chest still feels ready. You may tell yourself to rest, but something inside remains alert. This does not mean your decision has failed. The body often changes more slowly than thought. It has learned through repeated experience. If you have spent many nights planning, checking, worrying, and preparing, the body has begun to expect that pattern. Night arrives, and it becomes ready for more mental work. The room may be quiet, but the inner system remembers activity. The day may be complete, but the body has not yet received the message. This first state is tension. Tension may show itself in many simple ways. The breath becomes small. The face holds an expression even when nobody is watching. The jaw stays firm. The stomach feels closed. The hands do not know where to rest. The mind moves quickly from one concern to another. You may feel as though you should be doing something, even when there is nothing useful to do. The body is waiting for a demand. It has spent so much time responding at stillness feels like a space it must fill. Do not become angry with this tension. It is not fighting you. It is trying to protect you in the only way it knows. The tense part believes readiness is safety. It believes that if it remains alert, it can prevent surprise. It believes that if it thinks ahead, it can avoid pain. It believes that if it relaxes, something important may be missed. You can meet this part with understanding. You have worked hard today. You have been trying to keep me safe. You do not need to prepare for anything in this moment. You do not need to force the body open. Let your voice become an invitation. Tension becomes stronger when it is treated like another problem. If you say, "I must relax now," the word "must" can become another demand. The body hears pressure inside a message that was meant to bring peace. Try something softer. I am allowed to soften. I do not have to become calm immediately. My body can take the time it needs. These words make room. You are not demanding a result. You are removing the demand. The body may release a little. It may not. Both are acceptable. The purpose is not to perform relaxation correctly. The purpose is to stop adding fear to the tension already present. You can notice tension without becoming tension. This means you recognize what is happening without turning it into your identity. Instead of saying, "I cannot rest," you can say, "My body is still alert." Instead of saying, "Something is wrong with me," you can say, "My body has practiced holding for a long time." Instead of saying, "This night will be terrible," you can say, "This is what I feel now," and feelings can move. The way you name the moment changes the moment. Harsh words close the body more. Kind words create space around what is present. You may not control the first reaction, but you can choose the voice that meets it. After tension often comes control. The mind feels the body's discomfort and tries to solve it. It says, "Let me plan tomorrow. Let me check one more thing. Let me understand this conversation. Let me find the answer." Control promises that once everything is settled, the body can rest. But the mind rarely settles everything. Each answer creates another question. Each check creates another reason to check. Each plan reveals another possible problem. The mind is trying to build safety through complete control, but complete control is not available. This is why control can be so tiring. It asks you to manage things that do not belong fully to you. It asks you to manage timing. It asks you to manage other people's choices. It asks you to manage every result. It asks you to prevent every disappointment. It asks you to know what has not yet been revealed. No human mind can complete these tasks, and yet the mind keeps trying because trying feels safer than letting go. Control may show itself as planning. Planning can be healthy, but control does not know when the plan is enough. You decide what to do tomorrow, then wonder whether the plan will work. You decide what to say, then imagine every possible reply. You prepare for one outcome, then fear another. You create another plan in case the first one fails. Soon you are no longer preparing. You are trying to remove uncertainty from life. Uncertainty cannot be completely removed. It can only be met. This is where trust begins to matter. Trust does not ask you to stop caring about results. It asks you to stop believing your peace must wait until every result is guaranteed. You can make a wise plan without demanding certainty. You can take action without controlling how everyone responds. You can prepare without living through the event many times before it happens. You can leave space for life to move. Control may also appear as repeated checking. The mind says, maybe something has changed. It checks the message, the time, the list, the symptom, the memory. For a brief moment, checking may bring relief. Then the relief fades and the urge returns. This teaches the body that safety must be searched for again and again. You can interrupt this pattern with a gentle decision. I have checked enough. I have prepared enough. I have thought about this enough for tonight. Enough does not mean careless. It means no useful information is being added now. The mind may protest, let it protest. You do not need to argue with every protest. You can hold the decision quietly. I will meet this later. At first, control may become louder when you stop following it. It may bring stronger thoughts. It may say, but what if? It may remind you of times something went wrong. This does not mean you should obey. It means the old pattern has noticed that you are choosing differently. Stay gentle. The part that wants control is frightened. Do not answer fear with force. Answer it with steadiness. I know you want certainty. I know you are trying to protect me. We do not have every answer, and we are still allowed to rest. You are teaching the mind that safety can exist beside uncertainty. This is a deep change. For a long time, you may have believed safety meant knowing what will happen, knowing what someone thinks, knowing how the problem will end, knowing that you will not be hurt. But life does not always offer this kind of knowing. A deeper safety comes from trusting your ability to respond. You may not know what tomorrow brings, but you can trust that you will meet the next moment. You may not know how someone will respond, but you can trust yourself to hear the response and choose what honors you. You may not know when something will change, but you can trust that you do not need to destroy tonight while waiting. Safety can come from your relationship with yourself, not only from control over the world. When control begins to soften, you may enter a quieter state. This is stillness, but it may not feel peaceful at first. Stillness can feel empty. The mind has been so busy that the absence of const and thought may feel unfamiliar. You may wonder what to do with the space. You may become aware of feelings that were hidden beneath activity. Do not rush to fill the stillness. Let it be new. Stillness is not nothing. It is the place where you stop adding. You stop adding new fear to an old concern. You stop adding imagined conversations to a real relationship. You stop adding tomorrow to tonight. You stop adding judgment to tiredness. The problem may still exist, but you are no longer making it larger in your inner world. This is where neutrality begins. Neutrality is not pretending to be happy. It is not telling yourself that nothing matters. It is not forcing a positive meaning onto something painful. Neutrality is simpler. This is what happened. This is what remains unfinished. This is what I know. This is what I do not know. I do not need to call it a disaster. The mind may be used to adding a final meaning. A delay means nothing will happen. Silence means rejection. A mistake means failure. Tiredness means weakness. Uncertainty means danger. Neutrality removes the final meaning. A delay is a delay. Silence is silence. A mistake is something that happened. Tiredness is a need for care. Uncertainty is a space where the answer has not arrived. You do not need to turn every event into a statement about your worth or future. This is what creates stillness. Not the absence of every thought, but the absence of the painful story added to each thought. You may say, "This day was difficult, and the day is now over." You may say, "I made a mistake, and I can respond to it later." You may say, "I do not know what will happen, and I do not have to decide that it will be bad." You may say, "Something remains unfinished, and I am still allowed to rest." Neutrality gives the body a different message. It says there is nothing to fight in this moment. It says the current feeling is not the whole future. It says you do not need to solve your identity tonight. The body may begin to believe that the room is safe, not because every problem is gone, because no new problem is being created through thought. From stillness, trust can begin to grow. Trust is not a large feeling you must force. It may begin as a small willingness. I am willing to believe that tomorrow can wait. I am willing to believe that rest will not make things worse. I am willing to believe that I do not need control in every moment. Willingness is enough. You do not have to feel complete trust. The part that has been alert for years may not suddenly surrender. Let it learn slowly. Trust grows each time you release something and discover that life continues. You sleep and the morning still comes. You stop checking and you are still able to respond later. You leave something unfinished and you return with more clarity. You do not manage someone's feelings, and they remain responsible for their own inner world. You allow uncertainty, and you find that you can and live through it. These experiences teach more deeply than words. They show the nervous system that letting go is not the same as losing everything. Trust also means remembering that life has movement beyond your effort. Your body continues working without your instruction. Your heart continues beating. Your breath continues. Night moves toward morning. Thoughts settle in ways you cannot force. Understanding may come after you stop searching. A solution may appear when the mind is no longer crowded. This does not mean you do nothing forever. It means not everything requires your effort at every hour. There are moments for doing. There are moments for listening. There are moments for waiting. There are moments for sleep. Trying to turn every moment into action creates exhaustion. Let night have its own purpose. Night is not only unused time. It is not a gap between productive hours. It is part of life. It has something to give that effort cannot give. It gives distance. It gives softness. It gives the mind room to sort what the day brought. It gives the body a chance to stop defending. You are allowed to receive what the night offers. You can leave tomorrow unopened tonight. Imagine tomorrow as a door. You do not need to stand in front of it all night. You do not need to look through every small opening. You do not need to guess what waits behind it. The door will open when the time comes. Until then, remain where you are. This is the only moment asking for your presence. The mind may walk toward the door again. Bring it back without blame. Not yet. We are here now. Tomorrow will meet us later. These simple words can become a path from control into trust. You are not telling yourself that tomorrow will be easy. You are telling yourself that you do not need to live it twice. Living it in fear tonight does not make you stronger tomorrow. It only takes away the energy you may need. Keep that energy. Let it remain in the body. Let rest gather around it. You can be prepared without being afraid. You can be responsible without staying alert through the night. You can love life without trying to control every part of it. The move from tension to trust may happen many times in one evening. You notice the body tighten. You meet it kindly. You notice the mind trying to control. You remind it that enough has been done. You enter a quieter space. A new worry appears. You begin again. This is not repetition caused by failure. This is practice. Every return strengthens a new path. The old path says tension, control, more tension. The new path says tension, awareness, stillness, trust. At first, the old path may feel easier because it is familiar. The new path may require gentle effort. Over time, the new path becomes more natural. You begin to notice fear earlier. You stop following it as far. You return more quickly. You trust yourself more deeply. The outside world may be the same, but the way you meet the night begins to change. You no longer treat every thought like a warning. You no longer treat every unfinished thing like an emergency. You no longer treat rest like a danger. This is real inner change. It may be quiet, but the body feels it. The part of you that has remained ready begins to lower its guard. It begins to understand that you are not abandoning life. You are ending the day. It begins to understand that you are not becoming careless. You are becoming supported. It begins to understand that trust does not mean nothing difficult will happen. Trust means you will not make yourself suffer every possible difficulty before it arrives. You are safe to move from control into trust. Let that truth be simple. You do not need to solve the whole future. You do not need to understand every part of the past. You do not need to hold every feeling in place. You can notice what is here. You can stop adding to it. You can let the night become quiet in its own time. And as control loosens, rest begins moving closer to the part of you that has been waiting for permission to stop. When control begins to loosen, rest does not only reach the body, it reaches the part of you that has been working quietly for years, the part that keeps watch even when nobody asks, the part that stays ready for the next need, the next problem, the next change in someone's voice, the part that learned to stay useful because being useful felt safer than being still. This part may be very tired, not only tired from today, tired from always being the one who remembers, tired from noticing what everyone else misses, tired from preparing for what may happen, tired from holding words inside, tired from being strong before strength was ever a choice. Perhaps this part has never truly known what rest feels like. It may know sleep. It may know lying down. It may know closing the eyes while the mind continues moving. But rest is something deeper. Rest is the feeling that nothing is being demanded from you. Rest is the feeling that you do not need to prove your place. Rest is the feeling that you are allowed to receive. Rest is the feeling that someone is staying with you, and tonight that someone can be you. You may have spent much of your life offering comfort to others while not knowing how to receive comfort yourself. You may know how to say, "It will be okay," to someone else, but not how to let those words enter your own heart. You may know how to care for another tired person, but when you are tired, you push harder. Tonight, you can begin giving yourself the care you have given away so freely. You can say, "You do not need to help anyone right now." You can say, "You do not need to understand everything." You can say, "You do not need to be available." You can say, "You do not need to hold your face, your voice, or your body in a certain way." You can say, "You are allowed to belong to yourself tonight." These words may feel unfamiliar. A part of you that has always been responsible may not know what to do with them. It may ask, if I am not carrying something, who am I? You are still you. You do not disappear when you stop working. You do not lose your value when no one needs you. You do not become less loving when you are unavailable. You do not become less important when you are quiet. You are more than the things you do for everyone. You are more than the problems you solve. You are more than the way you keep everything moving. There is a part of you beneath all the doing that has been waiting to be met. It does not want another task. It does not want another lesson. It does not want another promise that someday life will become easier. It wants to feel your presence now. It wants to hear, I am here. It wants to know that you will not leave simply because it is tired. It wants to know that you will not judge it for needing care. It wants to know that rest is not something that must be earned through suffering. Let rest become like a quiet light entering a room that has been open too long. The light does not demand anything from the room. It does not ask the room to become better. It simply enters and reveals that the room is still here. The light reaches the places you usually move past. It reaches the tired thoughts. It reaches the hidden fear. It reaches the part that believes everything depends on you. It reaches the part that has forgotten how to receive. You do not have to pull this light closer. You only have to stop turning away from it. Rest may arrive slowly. It may first feel like one softer thought, then one moment when you do not check, one moment when you decide not to continue a conversation inside your mind, one moment when you allow the body to remain still without calling yourself lazy. These small moments matter. They tell the forgotten part, you are no longer alone with the pressure. They tell it, you do not have to keep proving that you can survive. They tell it, there is another way to be safe. The part of you that never stops may believe that safety comes from effort. It may believe that if you work hard enough, think far enough ahead, and keep everyone happy, pain can be avoided. But effort cannot control every part of life. You can do everything carefully and still meet uncertainty. You can love someone deeply and still not control their choices. You can prepare well and still be surprised. You can work hard and still need help. This does not mean effort has no value. It means effort was never meant to carry the whole weight of your life. There must also be trust. There must be receiving. There must be moments when you allow yourself to be supported by something other than your own constant work. Tonight is one of those moments. You are supported by the surface beneath you. You are supported by the breath that continues without being forced. You are supported by the simple truth that the day has already passed. You are supported by the Fae, like that nothing more is required from this exact moment. Let yourself notice this. You do not have to create support from nothing. Some support is already here. The body is held. The room is holding your quiet. The night is creating distance from the day. Life is continuing without asking you to supervise it. The forgotten part of you may have spent years waiting for someone else to say, "You can stop now." Perhaps no one said it. Perhaps they kept asking more. Perhaps the moment you finished one thing, another appeared. You can become the voice that ends that pattern. You can say, "You have carried enough." You can say, "You do not need to remain strong through the night." You can say, "You do not need to solve anything to deserve this rest." You can say, "I will not ask you for more." There is deep kindness in the words, "I will not ask you for more." The tired part may have lived as though more would always be demanded. More patience, more understanding, more work, more giving, more silence, more strength, more waiting. Tonight, no more is being asked. You are allowed to exist without improving the moment. You are allowed to be still without using the stillness to plan. You are allowed to receive comfort without preparing to give something back. This may be where the deepest rest begins. Not when every thought disappears, but when you stop turning every thought into work. Not when every feeling becomes peaceful, but when you stop making every feeling a problem. Not when life becomes perfect, but when you stop believing perfection is required before your body can soften. You have carried enough for today. Let these words move deeper than the mind. You have carried enough for today. You may still remember unfinished things. They are allowed to remain unfinished. You may still feel something tender. It is allowed to be tender. You may still have fear. Fear is allowed to be present without leading the night. You are not needed everywhere in this moment. The people you care about are living their own lives. They are carrying their own thoughts. They are making their own choices. You are allowed to step out of their inner world and return to your own. You do not need to imagine what everyone is thinking. You do not need to prepare for every reaction. You do not need to make yourself ready for every possible need. Let other people have their own night. Let them carry what belongs to them. You are allowed to carry only yourself now. Even that may feel like too much after a long day, so carry yourself gently. Do not hold yourself tightly. Do not demand calm. Do not say, "You should be over this." Say, "I know you are tired." Say, "I understand why you are still alert." Say, "We can soften slowly." This is how you become safe to yourself. Safety is not only the absence of danger. It is the presence of a voice that does not attack you. It is knowing that if fear appears, you will not call yourself weak. It is knowing that if tears come, you will not tell yourself to stop. It is knowing that if rest takes time, you will not turn the process into another failure. You remain kind. Kindness allows the forgotten part to come closer. It may have hidden beneath work because work was easier than feeling. It may have hidden beneath caring for everyone because being needed was easier than receiving. It may have hidden beneath strength because softness once felt unsafe. Tonight, softness is not danger. Softness is the way home. You do not have to become completely open. Let one small place soften. Perhaps the voice inside becomes less sharp. Perhaps the shoulders lower a little. Perhaps the mind accepts that one problem can wait. Perhaps you stop trying to make this night become anything. That is enough. Rest is reaching every part of you that has forgotten how to receive it. It is reaching the part that believes love must be earned. It is reaching the part that believes worth comes from effort. It is reaching the part that has always waited until everyone else was comfortable. It is reaching the part that knows how to survive but not how to be held. You are not taking rest away from anyone by receiving it. You are not leaving anyone behind. You are not becoming selfish. You are returning to the person who has been waiting beneath every demand. There you are, still here after all the days you pushed through, still here after all the nights you worried, still here after all the times you gave more than you had. You are allowed to meet yourself with relief instead of another request. You can let rest sit beside you without asking when sleep will come. You can let it enter through the simple feeling that you are no longer on duty. Nothing must be fixed in this moment. Nothing must be proved. Nothing must be decided. Nothing must be carried farther. Let the quiet light reach you. Let it touch the place inside that remained awake even when the body slept. Let it tell that place, I see you. Let it tell that place, you are safe enough to stop. Let it tell that place, you do not have to earn your way into peace. You are allowed to receive the night as care. You are allowed to receive stillness as support. You are allowed to receive your own love without first becoming someone different. Rest is reaching every part of you that has forgotten how to receive it. And for tonight, receiving is enough. Perhaps you have believed that worry keeps life from falling apart. Somewhere inside, worry may feel like a rope you must keep holding. If you release it, you fear something important may be lost. So you stay connected to everything through thought. You think about the people you love because you want them to be safe. You think about money because you want to be prepared. You think about your body because you want to understand every change. You think about the future because you do not want to be surprised. The care beneath these thoughts is real. But worry is not the only way to care. Worry does not hold tomorrow together. It does not control another person's path. It does not make a difficult choice easier when the mind is already tired. It does not repair the past. It does not prove how deeply you love. You can release worry without releasing love. You can stop thinking without becoming careless. You can rest without walking away from your responsibilities. Life can continue without your fear. This can be difficult to accept when you have spent a long time believing everything depends on you. You may have learned to be the one who makes sure things happen. You remind, organize, prepare, and notice. People may trust you because you rarely let anything fall, but you were never meant to hold every part of life. Some things belong to time. Some things belong to other people. Some things belong to choices that have not yet been made. Some things belong to a future moment when more will be known. Your worry cannot do the work of time. It cannot do another person's growing for them. It cannot force an answer to arrive early. It cannot make every road clear before you begin walking. You can allow these things to remain outside your control. This does not mean you feel comfortable immediately. Letting go often feels strange before it feels peaceful. The mind may say, "But what if I need to do something?" Ask a simple question. Is there something useful I can do now? If the answer is yes, choose the useful step. If the answer is no, worry is not the missing action. The useful step may be simple. Remember something for tomorrow. Ask for support when morning comes. Prepare one necessary thing. Set one clear limit, then stop. You do not need to keep acting after the action is complete. You do not need to continue working emotionally after practical work has ended. You can place the unfinished conversation down. You can place the future decision down. You can place someone else's reaction down. You can place the fear about timing down. You can place the demand to know down. Imagine how much energy has been used holding things that could never be fully held. You may have tried to hold a relationship together through constant thought. You may have tried to hold someone close by becoming everything they needed. You may have tried to hold the future steady by planning every detail. You may have tried to hold your body safe by watching every feeling. The hands of the mind become tired too. They were not made to hold every possibility. Open them. You do not need to release everything forever. Release it for tonight. Tomorrow, you can pick up what truly belongs to you. You may discover that some of what you carried was never yours. Someone's opinion may not belong to you. Someone's refusal to communicate may not belong to you. Someone's choice may affect you, but it is still their choice. The timing of every answer may not belong to you. The need to make everyone comfortable does not belong to you. Give these things back to life. Let life move them in ways you cannot. There is intelligence in life that continues while you rest. The breath moves, the heart beats, the body works quietly. Night becomes morning. Thoughts connect and settle beneath your full awareness. Life is not waiting for your worry before it continues. The sun does not need your permission to rise. Your body does not need you to stay awake to remember how to breathe. Morning does not need to be pulled toward you. There are processes that know how to continue without control. You are part of this life. Perhaps you too can be carried for a while. Perhaps you do not always have to be the one doing the carrying. This does not require a perfect spiritual feeling. It is a simple shift from "everything depends on me" to "I will do my part, and I will not pretend that my part is everything." Your part may be honesty. Your part may be effort. Your part may be asking for help. Your part may be leaving what harms you. Your part may be waiting. Your part may be resting so you can think clearly. Life has its part too. Timing has its part. Other people have their part. Chance, change, and the unknown have their part. You do not need to perform every role. Worry often grows when you try to do the work of life itself. You want to know exactly how the answer will come. You want to know when. You want to know through whom. You want to know what it will look like. The mind believes details create safety, but some details do not exist yet. You cannot know a path that is still forming. You cannot force a future moment to show itself. You can remain open without knowing. You can say, "I am willing to be guided when the next step appears." You can say, "I do not need the whole answer before rest." You can say, "Life continues supporting me while I sleep." Let this be more than a hopeful sentence. Notice where it is already true. Your body has continued supporting you through many nights. Sleep has carried you away from thoughts you could not stop by force. Morning has given you new beginnings after difficult evenings. Time has softened feelings you believed would remain forever. Answers have come after you stopped looking. You have been supported in ways you did not fully control. Remembering this can loosen the belief that you must manage everything. You have never managed everything. You have participated. You have responded. You have chosen. But life has also been moving around you and within you. You do not need to supervise this movement tonight. Let one unfinished conversation remain unfinished. Perhaps you want to know what someone truly meant. Perhaps you want to explain yourself better. Perhaps you want to hear words they have not given. You do not need to finish the conversation alone. Let the real conversation wait. Let one future decision remain undecided. You may not have enough information. You may not have enough energy. Waiting is sometimes the wisest choice. Let one person's reaction pull eternal to them. You can choose your words and actions. You cannot control what another heart does with them. Let one fear about timing be released. Something taking longer does not mean you must stay awake until it changes. Let one demand placed upon yourself fall away. Perhaps the demand says you should know better, you should be stronger, you should be further ahead. You should have solved this already. You are allowed to stop speaking to yourself through demands. Life is not improved by your cruelty toward yourself. The future does not open more quickly because you are exhausted. The body does not become safer because you blame it for being tired. Let support begin with the voice you use within. I do not have to know tonight. I do not have to carry this alone. I am allowed to receive help. Life can move without my worry. You may notice resistance. A voice may say, "That sounds careless." Return to the truth. Carelessness ignores what can be done. Trust does what can be done and releases the rest. Carelessness refuses to face reality. Trust faces reality without living inside constant fear. Carelessness has no concern. Trust has concern with healthy limits. You are not choosing carelessness. You are choosing not to turn concern into self-harm. Exhaustion does not prove love. You do not love people more because you lose sleep over them. You do not care about your future more because you imagine every disaster. Love can be calm. Care can have limits. Responsibility can end for the night. You are allowed to stop paying for love with your peace. You may have done this without realizing it. You worried because someone mattered. You believed that if you stopped worrying, you were letting them go. But love does not disappear when worry disappears. What may disappear is the suffering wrapped around love. Then love can become clearer. It can say, "I care for you, and I trust you to have your own path." It can say, "I hope for good, and I know I cannot control everything." It can say, "I will support you without leaving myself." Let love become lighter. Let responsibility become honest. Let the future remain open. Life continues supporting you while you rest. It supports you through the body's quiet work. It supports you by giving the mind distance. It supports you through tomorrow's new information. It supports you through people you may not yet know you need. It supports you through ideas that come when the mind is not crowded. It supports you by closing paths that would ask too much from you. It supports you by making you tired when you have gone too far. Even tiredness can be a form of guidance. It says, "Return." It says, "Enough." It says you cannot live only by giving. Listen. You do not need to make tiredness disappear before you respect it. You can respect it now by placing something down. What will you stop carrying tonight? Not forever, only for this night. A question, a name, a future scene, a mistake, responsibility that belongs to tomorrow. Let it be placed outside this moment. You can return if necessary. You are not losing control. You are ending your shift. You have been emotionally working long enough. Life can continue. The night can continue. The unknown can remain unknown. You can rest in the space where no answer is required. Life continues supporting you while you rest. Let the words settle without trying to prove them. You do not need proof before you stop. Stopping may be how you begin to notice the support that worry has kept hidden. You do not have to wait until life becomes easy before becoming someone who rests. If you wait for every problem to disappear, you may continue waiting through many nights. There will always be something that could use more thought. There will always be something unfinished. There may always be someone who wants more from you. Rest must begin before life is perfect. It begins when you choose a new way of meeting what is unfinished. Ask yourself gently, how would the rested version of me meet this night? Not the perfect version, not someone who never worries, not someone who has no responsibilities. The rested version of you may still have concerns. The difference is that concern no longer takes over the whole inner world. The rested version notices the thought and says, "This can wait." The rested version respects the body before it reaches complete exhaustion. The rested version does not make every delay personal. The rested version allows silence to remain silence. The rested version does not turn uncertainty into a painful story. The rested version does not wait for permission from everyone else. This version of you is not far away. It appears each time you choose not to follow fear. It appears each time you stop explaining. It appears each time you leave a task for tomorrow. It appears each time you speak kindly to the body. It appears each time you say, "Enough for today." You are becoming this person through small choices. The old self says, "I can rest when everything is complete." The new self says, "Rest helps me meet what is incomplete." The old self says, "My worth comes from what I carry." The new self says, "My worth remains when my hands are empty." The old self says, "Stopping means falling behind." The new self says, "Stopping allows me to return to myself." The old self says, "I must remain available." The new self says, "I can be unavailable and still be loving." The old self says, "I need to know." The new self says, "I can wait for the answer." These new sentences may feel unfamiliar. Do not force yourself to believe them completely. Practice them through action. Leave one thing unfinished without attacking yourself. Let one message wait. Do not replay one conversation again. Choose not to solve one future problem. Allow the body to receive care before it demands it. Each small choice tells the subconscious mind, we live differently now. Identity is built through repetition. You become the person who receives rest by receiving small amounts of rest without guilt. You become the person who trusts by allowing one uncertain thing to remain uncertain. You become the person who respects limits by listening when tiredness first speaks. Do not wait to feel ready. Readiness often grows after the choice. You may still feel guilty when you stop. Rest anyway. You may still feel the urge to check. Let the urge pass. You may still think about tomorrow. Return to tonight. You may still feel responsible for someone. Remember that love does not require complete control. This is how the new identity becomes real. Not through perfect thoughts, but through repeated returns. You are allowed to end this day. Notice how clear that is. You are not asking whether everyone is satisfied. You are not asking whether the list is complete. You are not asking whether the future is safe. You are deciding that this day has received enough of your energy. You are allowed to end it. Ending the day does not mean rejecting what happened. You can honor what mattered and still let it go. You can be grateful for what was good. You can learn from what was difficult. You can repair what needs repair later. You do not need to keep the day alive through thought. Let it become complete in the only way a human day can become complete, not because everything ended, but because time moved on. Your worth does not disappear when you become still. This may be one of the deepest lessons the tired part must learn. You may have felt most valuable when producing, helping, giving, or solving. Stillness removes these signs of value. There is nothing to show. You are simply here. Can that be enough? Can breathing be enough? Can existing be enough? Can being a human body in need of rest be enough? Yes. You were worthy before today's work began. You remain worthy after it ends. You do not need to carry something to deserve a place in life. You do not need to be useful every moment. Let this truth reach the part that becomes uncomfortable when doing nothing. Doing nothing for a while is not becoming nothing. Your life continues within stillness. Your heart continues. Your body continues. Your value continues. I receive rest without guilt. Guilt may visit, but it does not have to control the night. You can hear its old message. You should be doing more. Then answer from the new self. Rest is what I am doing now. You should help. I can help when I have something to give. You are wasting time. My body is using this time. You have not earned it. Rest is a need, not a prize. These answers are not an argument. They are a new direction. You are no longer letting the old rules speak alone. I release the need to remain mentally available. You may be physically alone while your mind remains available to everyone. It stays open for messages, problems, reactions, and needs. Close the inner door. You can open it tomorrow. Tonight, you do not need to remain mentally present in every relationship. You do not need to answer questions no one has asked. You do not need to predict moods. You do not need to plan your response to an imagined future. Let your mind become unavailable. This may feel like freedom. It may also feel strange. Stay with the strangeness. It is the feeling of an old pattern losing its usual space. Peace is safe for me now. The word safe matters. You may want peace and still become nervous when it arrives. Quiet may allow feelings to come forward. Stillness may remove the distractions that helped you avoid tiredness. Tell yourself, peace does not require me to be unprotected. You can have boundaries and peace. You can stay aware and peaceful. You can meet life without living in fear. Peace does not make you weak. It gives your strength somewhere to return. The new identity does not deny fear. It refuses to let fear make every decision. It may say, I feel worried and I will not check again. I feel uncertain and I will wait. I feel responsible and I will still rest. I feel guilty and I will be kind to myself. This is courage in a quiet form. Courage is not always taking another step. Sometimes courage is stopping when the old pattern demands that you continue. Sometimes courage is trusting the morning. Sometimes courage is allowing yourself to be cared for. Sometimes courage is not answering. You are becoming the version of yourself who can receive. For a long time, receiving may have felt uncomfortable. You knew how to give time, energy, advice, patience, and attention. Receiving made you feel exposed. When you receive, you are not in control of everything. You allow something to come toward you. Tonight, let rest come toward you. Do not chase it. Do not ask, why am I not asleep yet? Do not measure every minute. Receive the chance to lie still. Receive the quiet. Receive the softness of not acting. Receive the truth that no more is required. Sleep may come in its own time. Rest can begin before sleep. It begins in the end of effort. It begins in the end of fighting yourself. It begins when you stop using the night to correct your whole life. How would the rested version of you speak now? Perhaps it would say, we can leave this. Perhaps it would say, nothing good comes from hurting ourselves with the same thought. Perhaps it would say, we have time. Perhaps it would say, the next step does not need to happen now. Let this voice become stronger. The voice of pressure may have been loud because it has been practiced for years. The new voice may begin quietly. Listen for it. It is the voice that respects you. It does not demand more than the body can give. It does not make love depend on effort. It does not call fear wisdom. It knows that a gentle life is still a meaningful life. You may return to the old pattern tomorrow. Do not turn that into failure. You will notice and return. The mind may become busy again. You will remember. The body may become tense again. You will meet it. You are not trying to become someone who never struggles. You are becoming someone who does not abandon themselves during the struggle. That is the new identity. Someone who remains close. Someone who knows when enough has been done. Someone who can say, I matter too. Someone who allows rest to be part of life rather than the reward at the end of it. I am allowed to end this day. My worth does not disappear when I become still. I receive rest without guilt. I release the need to remain mentally available. Peace is safe for me now. Let these words become choices. Let them change the way you meet this night. You do not need the outer world to change before you practice the inner permission to stop. You can begin now. Some thoughts may still appear. You do not need to defeat them. A thought may return to the problem you placed down. It may try to reopen tomorrow. It may bring back the face, the words, the decision, or the fear. You can meet it without following it. Yes, I remember. Yes, this matters. And it can wait. The day is complete enough. Not perfectly complete, humanly complete. It had a beginning. It had moments you understood and moments you did not. It held things you wanted and things you would have changed. Now it has reached its end. You do not need to make it better before releasing it. You do not need to rewrite every moment. You do not need to punish yourself for what was missing. Let the day be what it was. Let yourself be someone who lived through it. You are here now. That is enough. I release what cannot be solved tonight. There are things you could think about for hours and still not solve. Some answers need another conversation. Some require time. Some depend on choices that are not yours. Do not ask your tired mind for what only life can reveal. Release the demand. You do not need to know when. You do not need to know exactly how. You do not need to know every reason. The unknown can remain quiet beside you. You do not have to turn it into fear. I no longer carry tomorrow through the night. Tomorrow has not asked for you yet. It has not opened. Its people, choices, and events have not arrived. Let it remain where it belongs. You will meet it with the strength that returns through rest. You will meet it with new information. You will meet it as the person you are then, not as the tired person lying here now. Trust that future version of yourself. You do not need to rescue them by worrying. Your body is allowed to soften. It has carried you through another day. It has held every feeling. It has responded to every sound, thought, movement, and need. It deserves to stop receiving messages of danger. Tell it, there is nothing to solve here. Tell it, you do not have to remain ready. Tell it, thank you for carrying me. The body may soften slowly. Let slowly be enough. You are not racing towards sleep. You are giving yourself the experience of not being pushed. Life is supporting me while I rest. Life does not end when you close your eyes. The world continues. Time moves. The body works quietly. What truly belongs to you will still be there when morning comes. What no longer belongs may begin loosening without your effort. You do not have to see every movement. Some support is invisible while it is happening. You are safe to stop now. The words may reach the tired part more deeply tonight. You have spent so much time moving toward the next thing that stopping may feel like a loss. It is not a loss. You are not losing time. You are returning energy. You are not losing control. You are releasing what was never fully controllable. You are not losing your strength. You are letting strength become quiet. Tonight, you do not need to be the person who holds everything together. Let something hold you. Let the surface beneath you hold the body. Let the night hold the unfinished day. Let time hold the unanswered question. Let other people hold their own thoughts. Let tomorrow hold what belongs to tomorrow. You can be held without knowing what happens next. You can be held without deserving it through effort. You can be held while still feeling unsure. You can be held exactly as you are. Perhaps you have waited for this feeling from someone else. You wanted someone to notice the tiredness beneath your strength. You wanted someone to say, "You do not have to do so much." Let yourself hear it now. You do not have to do so much. Not tonight. You do not have to be impressive. You do not have to be useful. You do not have to be ready. You do not have to become peaceful on command. You only have to stop asking more of yourself. Nothing is missing from this moment because you are not working. Your life has not lost meaning because you are quiet. You are still loved by life. You are still part of everything. You are still moving forward, even here. Rest is not the opposite of progress. There are kinds of progress that only happen when effort ends. The nervous system learns that quiet can be safe. The heart learns that it does not have to stay guarded. The mind learns that an unfinished thought can remain unfinished. The inner child learns that love does not disappear when no task is being completed. This is deep work, but you do not need to work at it. You let it happen through permission. When another thought comes, do not say, "I have failed to rest." Say, "The mind is moving and I can remain still." When tension returns, do not say, "This is not working." Say, "The body is learning." When sleep does not come immediately, do not turn time into an enemy. You are still resting from effort. You are still changing the pattern. You are still giving the forgotten part a new experience. It is learning that the night can be gentle. It is learning that you will not fill every quiet space with fear. It is learning that you can stay near without demanding anything. Tonight, the tired part is no longer alone. You are here, not as a manager, not as a judge, not as someone asking for improvement. You are here as company. I will stay. You do not need to prove anything. We can meet tomorrow together. Let these words become the last kind voice in your inner world. You have spent enough time speaking through pressure. Let kindness have the final word. The day is complete enough. You release what cannot be solved. You leave tomorrow unopened. You allow the body to soften. You let life carry what you cannot. You are safe to stop. When you finally become still, peace reaches the place inside that has been working for far too long. You may not see it happen. There may be no sudden moment. Peace may arrive quietly, like a room becoming darker after the light has been lowered. It may arrive through one thought you choose not to follow. It may arrive through the feeling that you no longer have to be anywhere else. It may arrive as simple tiredness without fear around it. Let it arrive in its own way. You do not need to help rest find you. You only need to stop moving away from it. Tonight has never asked you to become someone new. It has only asked you to return. Return from tomorrow. Return from other people's thoughts. Return from the past conversation. Return from the list. Return from the part of you that believes love must be earned through effort. You are here. You are not behind. You are not failing because you need rest. You are not weak because the day was heavy. You are not careless because you choose to stop. There is wisdom in ending. There is love in limits. There is strength in allowing yourself to be supported. The part of you that never stops may still wake tomorrow. It may begin planning. It may search for the next thing to carry. Meet it with what you have learned tonight. You do not have to hold everything. We will take one thing at a time. We will not use fear as our guide. We will remember that rest belongs in our life. You are creating a new way of living, not through force, but through kindness repeated often enough that the body begins to believe it. You are teaching yourself that a day can end while work remains. You are teaching yourself that love remains when you are unavailable. You are teaching yourself that life continues when control stops. You are teaching yourself that your worth can be felt in stillness. These teachings may begin quietly, but they change the whole inner home. One day you may notice that night no longer feels like another task. You may notice that thoughts still come, but they do not carry you as far. You may notice that guilt loses some of its voice. You may notice that you can say enough without needing to explain. This is rest becoming part of who you are, not something you fall into only when completely empty, something you receive because you are alive. You do not need to hold the night together. Tonight, the night is holding you. Let the you unfinished remain outside your hands. Let the questions remain unanswered. Let the body stop waiting for another command. Let the inner voice become soft. You have carried enough. You have given enough. You have thought enough. You have prepared enough. You are allowed to end this day. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to rest.